I'm going to ask you some questions. Hi, everyone. My name is Georgette Truan. I am the host. I mean, I'm hosting for Davis, I guess. um, we have Sarah with us today. Sarah was, she's going to share a story with us about foster care and what she had to go through in foster care. Sarah was just sharing with me that she was in foster care from age 15, you said, to 18, Sarah?
Yes, ma'am.
So you were a teenager when they took you.
Yes, ma'am.
And why don't you tell us what happened when they took you? Did they take you because your parents did something, or did they lie? What did they? What was your
Kind,
experience
kind,
there?
kind of, sort of. I was abused. Um, back then CPS did things differently. So it was on a Friday. When I was 15, and I'd run away because I was tired of living with my abusers. I
Mhm.
was sexually abused, physically abused, emotionally, verbally. Um, so I went to my teacher, and we went to the police station, and CPS came out. The my adopted father, who's actually technically my uncle, but legally speaking, he was my adopted father. He had sexually abused me, so he wasn't allowed around the house for that weekend. But I had to go back home with my adopted father, who's my aunt. I mean, my adopted mother, who's my aunt. And she had threatened me that weekend to hurt me if anything happened to him, like if he went to jail for accusing him of what he did to me. So because of me being scared, I hit her. I'm 15. I'm tired of living with abuse because she was also physically abusing me. Of course, cops come out. Who are they going to believe? Right. So I get taken to juvenile. The only reason why CPS took me is because she refused to pick me up at jail. That's the only reason. Had she picked me up, I would have been placed back in the home with them, which now I look back and I wish I wouldn't have said anything because of the abuse that I endured while in the system.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
What did they do to you?
In the
Tell me
system,
what happened. Yeah.
um, I've been my hands would be I would be on my stomach and they would hold me down with my hands behind my back, to where I could literally touch my neck behind my back. They'd sit on me for 3 hours. So when I got up, my hands were stuck in place. It would take me hours just to get them unstuck. Still, because of that, still this day I can touch the back of my neck with my hand behind my back. It's not very easy to do. Um, we had male doctors stripping us at one of the places.
Mhm.
There was a place in Kempner that we were locked in the basement, me and other girls.
Mhm.
We were fed spoiled food. We'd say something, people would come out, they talk to all of us, and they would believe the staff over us almost every single time. Only one place they shut themselves down before anybody else could come and shut them down.
Was that a group home or just an individual foster home?
Some of them were group homes, some of them residential facilities, some were foster homes.
Oh my goodness. Did you ever? I mean, I'm sure you told the social workers, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was their reaction to this?
We were not telling the truth and we were just out of control. We had behavior issues. And
Did they?
granted, yeah, I had behavior issues because I was being abused. So, you know, they're kind of accurate only because I was being abused that I have those behaviors, right?
Yeah. So let me ask you this: When did they medicate you? Did they give you medication? Did they try to sedate you and others?
Um, One place in Houston, they actually they were giving me other people's on top of my medication, they were giving me other kids' medication, knowing it was other kids' medication. They had literally tried to overdose me one time. When I kept trying to get up to leave, to jet, to run away, to get help, they set on me. I mean, it took everything in me
Mhm.
not to go to sleep that night. I knew if I went to sleep, I might not wake up because I was completely sedated from everybody's medication.
This is horrible.
Yes, ma'am.
How, when you grew out of the system, when you were 18 years old, did you get any type of help from them? Did they offer to get you housing? Did they offer to get you a living anywhere?
No, ma'am. I did the PALS program, but because whenever I got out of CPS, when I went to go enroll into school for high school for my senior year,
Hmm.
CPS had lost all my credits. The school called everybody that they could possibly call, and they could not find my credits. So I would have to start over at 18 years old. I would have to start over in ninth grade. So because of that, because I wasn't willing to start in ninth grade, right? Because that's kind of insane. I didn't have help. In fact, I was put with my biological mother, who at the time she didn't even have a bathroom. I was taken from her at a very young age.
And the biological mother, you were taken from her at a young age. Why?
Um, I can't really tell you the truth because I have four different stories. Since my aunt is the one who adopted me, I have my aunt's story, I have my mother's story, I have my father's story. My father, there's complications there with his story, so it's a big mess. It really is.
What did
I
your
don't know
aunt
who
say the reason was, and what did your mom say the reason was?
that my dad was abusing me. However, I do remember when I was placing my aunt, the only person I wanted was my dad. And
Wait,
when in fact, when I said something about my uncle, my adopted father, abusing me, I was told I was lying about the name. I meant to say my biological father, who I hadn't seen since I was 3 years old. The
your dad
sexual
didn't
abuse,
abuse you. Your dad, you would
no.
never want your dad if he abused you. You would want your mom. You would want
Yep,
someone else than your
yep.
father. So whoever told you this is a liar, and what they wanted to do is you basically brainwash you to believe that you meant to say something else. How old were you when this happened? When
When I
they
was
took you
taken
the first
for
time?
the first time, 3 or 4 is well. What
Yep.
happened is so that time they were trying to take me away from him. Right, my mother already said, you know what, I don't want to. She'd already done that with my previous siblings. There
Right.
was complications, of course, that I'll never get the truth out, right?
Right.
Because I don't know who to believe. Um, and my dad actually was told that if he married the woman he was with, he'd have a
Mhm.
better chance. So she married on one purpose because of me. He won. He didn't have the money to pay off the attorney. So because of that, the case wouldn't close. So he went ahead and gave me over because my adopted parents had the money. And they did things corrupt. They knew and still do know people that work for the state, that work for the city of where I'm at. Um, they also knew CPS workers. So yeah, I
So what
I
when
was
you say
treated.
they had money, they were rich? I mean, or
They weren't rich, but they had money and they also knew people. Sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. And in
yeah.
this case, it's who they knew. Uh, because they had a judge in their back pocket. And to a point that my original birth certificate from when I was born is completely lost. There's no record of it anywhere. The judge lost it. So there's only one birth certificate, and that's the one I was adopted under. And then that sounds like a load of crap, but I can't find it anywhere.
You can't find it anywhere?
No, the state of Texas, the capital of Texas, don't have no record of it.
What do you mean they had no record? I'm not
They have no
understanding.
record. Okay, so when you're adopted, you get a new birth certificate, right? And
Yeah.
normally the one your original, the one that you're born with, it will be sealed. There's no sealed birth certificate. There's only one birth certificate, and that's under Sexton, and that's not where I was born. I was born in Pruitt, and I was adopted as Sexton. The judge tore up that birth certificate.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
oh my goodness gracious. So, so you went from home to home
Yes, ma'am.
even after you were adopted.
Yes, ma'am. Well, when I was adopted, I stayed there until I hit 15 when I was taken away. But even before I was taken away, my aunt was putting me in treatment facilities uh, here in Texas because I was out of control. But I wasn't out of control. I was hurting myself because what was being done to me. I was at a hospital one time and they were gonna discharge me. I went home and I was supposed to go home for the week and come back, have family therapy, and be discharged. Well, guess what I did? I went home, but I overdosed on purpose so that I wouldn't go home.
Wow.
And they kept me for another 30 days, then sent me home. But yeah, I
Wow.
was returned back to the home, and I even told them why I had overdosed. Like I made it very, very known of why I was trying to take my life.
Oh my God. You know, Stacy, that sounds familiar to something you shared with me a week ago. Her dad didn't do anything to her because when she was a little girl, as you heard when you were listening, is that
I was listening.
she wanted her father. Now we both know that a child would never ask for the abuser. Am I right or am I missing something here?
I think at that age, well, I don't know, Miss G, because to be honest, at her age that little, she may not have known what abuse was.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, at
Usually
four,
the children don't want to go with the abusers at
four,
all.
at 4 or 5, right? You were 4 or 5, sweetheart.
She
Yes,
said she
ma'am.
was 3 or 4,
Yeah,
right?
at
3 or
three,
4.
Yeah.
at 3 or 4, if she was being abused all along, her whole world and perspective might just be that that's what's normal.
I,
I still have a hard time believing it myself. My
she
my
doesn't.
dad ended up having 3 of the girls, so
He
So
did get custody of 3 of the girls.
no. After I got taken and I was like 10 years old, of course I had there was my mother took me to see him, and that was a big ordeal. But he ended up meeting somebody else and having 3 other girls. Now we're not. I mean, he's not a part of my life today, but that's because of the woman he's with, not because I think he
oh
did
my
anything
God.
or I feel like he did anything. But he raised my 3 younger sisters who are 10, 11, and 12 years younger than me, and they love him.
So,
So
how old are they now?
they are 28, 29, and 30.
And they don't recall any abuse by him?
No, ma'am, and neither do my nieces or nephews.
Well, somebody wrote that um, children want to go to their abuser if they are very young.
Yeah, because
That's so hard to believe that because
I guess if that's the only person they know, then yeah, I can see that. But if that's the only person that has loved them and that is taking care of them, yeah, I can see that because who else are they gonna trust?
well, but my whole point is at 3 and 4 years old, you don't know what sexual abuse is, and if your whole existence somebody was abusing you, then
It's all
that's just going
normal,
to be normal, like having peanut butter and jelly. How would they
right.
know that it's abnormal?
right? I get what you're saying.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I
I'm
can't
still gonna
process
choose not
this.
to.
How can your own flesh and blood be something you would do this to? I can't. I can't process this.
But Miss G, I'm
I,
glad
I
you can.
can't.
I'm glad you can.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, for me, like I'll be honest, like I don't ever recall being abused as a child in that manner.
Oh my
And
god.
so learning about this, it took years for me to just struggle and wrap my brain around the whole situation, because when you can understand these things and you can understand it unless it happened to you, if you
Yep.
can understand it without it happening to you, then something's not right with you.
Oh my god. Wow.
Well, it's kind of like you wouldn't think that a family would take the perpetrator's side over a child, but they did. I have two family that are biologically related to me that I communicate with.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Only two, because
Wow.
everybody else called me a liar. Even though my story is the same as it was when I was way younger.
But
Yeah.
okay, okay, wait. I need to share something. When I was 3 or 4, I knew a lot. I mean, I used to play with like makeup, those little, the wired phone thing with my friend across the way in the balcony. Like we would like play together and stuff. And there was this crazy man like in the next building that we hated. We did not like him. He would like terrify us, right? And I remember when we were walking by, on the street with my mom and dad and me and my siblings. Once I came across that guy, I was just like pulled back and I just went to hide behind my father, you know? Now, my dad asked me what happened. I said, Dad, I don't like this guy. He's weird. He's not nice. He's not nice, Dad. Right? After my dad beat him up, before he asked why, he was not nice. But in Egypt, it's like the whole street beat him up because literally my dad started, then the whole street went and beat the guy near death. And no police came, nothing. Okay. Because to my father, you did something to my daughter, I'm going to beat the crap out of you. Right. And again, everybody else followed. Okay. We're talking about Muslims, Christians, you name it. Okay. And because, hurting, it's like uh, girls girls are very important. Anyways, that's my experience. So if she wants to go to her dad, how can she go to the abuser knowing this is normal? I
Because
could
she
have I
didn't,
could
Miss
have thought
G.
he's normal, right?
No. See, the difference is you grew up with a father that most would say is normal, right? So
Right.
you knew what normal is. But if you didn't grow up with normal, then what's normal?
But
So if you're a child growing up with a sexually abusive parent, you don't have that normal contact with someone to know what's normal.
But when I got older and my adopted father, my uncle, didn't molest me, I knew who did it, and that's the only time they came back to me and said,
right.
"No, you're wrong. He didn't do it. Your father did it when you were little." No, I know what happened
But
between
do you
nine
see
and
what I'm
12.
talking about? They brainwashed her. Her uncle did it. She knew it wasn't right.
It was
So
my uncle. It wasn't my father, but
it
that's what they
wasn't
tried
her
saying.
father.
Well, there's two arguments to that. One argument would be you're correct, Miss G, right? That's an option that the father never did abuse her because she doesn't recall it. But on the other side, you could also say, geez, it's really in the family because is the uncle his brother?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
Yeah.
My aunt, and my mother are sisters.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's in the family. So you, even though they're not related, there is still some, you know, possibility there that this is a family where it kind of happens. So there's a couple
They never.
arguments.
They
If
weren't. They didn't look. They weren't family at all.
Yeah, I
At
get
all.
it. I get it. But um still, see, your
But when
your
her
mother
uncle
and her sister could have been normalized to that too, so that they end up seeking that in someone.
But wouldn't they know as they get older? Wouldn't they know that this was
Not
sexual
That's
abuse?
always.
wrong.
There's also that delayed recall where children suppress trauma memories. So I'm going to be honest, I'm not sold either way. I'm not sold that her father abused her, and I'm not sold that he didn't abuse her. And I just see arguments for both sides at this point.
What do you feel, Sarah? What does your gut tell you? Like after you met your sisters, and I'm sure you saw your dad again. What was your
I,
reaction?
I still, even though there's not a relationship between me and him, I still want a relationship. I do not feel like he did anything to me at all.
Do you have children?
Yes, I do have 4 girls.
And would you bring your children around him?
Absolutely, I would even leave them with him.
Um, and having when did you have children? After you grew out of the system?
Yes, ma'am.
And did they not try to come after you?
Who?
Social
Who?
workers?
Um, hmm, they're my goddaughters. We're raising them together, the parents and I. So they're all of ours. But I have had CPS pop up when I've tried helping other people in difficult situations with their kids so they can get on their feet. And this is what CPS always did to me. They always brought back my childhood history in CPS
Whoa.
in my face and used it as a reason why I couldn't help. I'm like, what? Y'all can't do that. I was under 18. And again, yet there again, I was behaving accordingly to the abuse that I went through in CPS and the abuse prior to. That's what messed up any kid. Like, really?
And they
No kid's
dedicated
just
her.
going to sit there and let it be done. No kid's going to sit there and let you tie them to a table, tie them to a chair with barbed wire. No. At least
Well,
I'm not going to. I wasn't going to.
Well,
she
Miss
was
G,
she was a rebelling child though. She admitted. But she
I
wouldn't
will
do this.
I will give you this, Miss G. None of us on the show are um, debating whether or not she was abused in the system,
Oh yeah. I know that for a fact.
right?
Yeah.
None of us are debating that.
No.
And we know about the system and what the system does. And I've mentioned this on shows before, but the United States Department of State does a report every year on human trafficking throughout the world. And in the United States, it says the most common place where kids are sex trafficked come from our foster care system. So we know the research on that. Our own government admits this is a problem. So when you say you were abused in the system, we definitely believe that. And unfortunately, you wish that when the system says you were abused as a child, you could believe that is concrete evidence. Unfortunately, we can't rely on what the system said happened to you because it's a very dishonest, dysfunctional system that they
Yep.
could have just used manufactured false pretenses to take you away from your family and kidnap you from your family and do these things too. So, unfortunately, it would be nice if we had a system with integrity that we could rely on their word, but we can't.
Right. Um, you know, he said I asked her earlier if they helped her. And after she grew out of the system, and she said no. They're supposed to help her. They're supposed to be able to get her housing and put her on her own, like get her on her own feet and help her get a job and all that. But literally, she grew out of the system and she was tossed out. Like, go live your life now, because we didn't teach you a damn thing. Now go live
Sad,
your life. That doesn't. To me, it's like you're literally waiting for her to die, be trafficked, or
but
I don't know.
if you think about their agenda, Miss G, they're not going to help her because if she blossomed in all her potential that's latent inside her, if she blossomed into what she's meant to be, and they fostered her, education and helped her along, then she'd have a lot more credibility to speak against the system from her experiences. So they want to stunt her growth,
There you
and then they
go.
want to go after her kids too again, and just
Yeah.
perpetuate the cycle.
Yeah, they always go after the kids, right? When you grow out of the system, they come back for your kids. Just God forbid, and we're not wishing that, God
Yep.
forbid, a million times.
There was she was on my show back when I was doing How to Fight CPS and Win, the New York edition. There was a woman who a pedophile got her when she was 16 and he was 44. And her life with him was horrible. Cameras in the house, never allowed to get a driver's license, not allowed to have money. Even when she was pregnant, she wasn't allowed to have money because he was afraid she would run away.
Wow.
So when she escaped him and she escaped the abuse, all his oppression, like, she blossomed into the most intelligent, beautiful, like, the transformation was so wonderful to witness. She's educated, she got degrees, now that he wasn't oppressing her. It's very oppressive what they do to you to keep you in their circle and to continue this violence.
Wow.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
somebody wrote, Jamie wrote, but they don't do that. You know that, Miss G. Now, that's not true, Jamie. I've heard from kids that grew out of the foster system. Um, you know what? I've only heard from boys, not girls, though. It's weird. I know 4 boys, men, young men who grew out of the system, and they said that CPS helped them. They paid for their college, and until age 21 or something like that. And then they also gave them a place to live. And
And that's probably part of that PAL program that I told you that I did. But
uh-huh.
because they lost my credits, I would have to start back up over at 9th grade. And in order to get the
Ninth
PAL, the
grade.
stuff from the PALs, you have to finish school. And I couldn't.
What does that, I don't know what your state laws are with compulsory education rights, but
They do have a PAL program. It's called PAL.
yeah.
PAL program. And what they do, you have to do good in school, though. You have to go to school.
Yeah.
If you don't go to school,
You have,
right, you
if
have
you
to
don't
get
go to
good
school, you
grades.
don't get the help.
Right, you have to get
Yep.
good grades, and if you don't get good grades, they're not going to help you. But
Miss G, though, I think that they do help some kids from time to time.
yeah, from time to time, right.
Yeah,
But I've only
nature
spoken to young men, though, not women, not young ladies. It's weird now that I think about it.
nature doesn't support absolutes, so you can never really say 100% or this, without fail or something like that. But they have to help some kids once in a while, or else everybody would know that the whole system is fraud. So they do help some kids from time to time.
Oh my God, you know what, Stacy? I didn't even think about that part. You're right. They want to help from a kid from time to time. You're right, because
Yeah, because they got to make sure they look good.
yeah, and that's
That's
the
what that's
4 kids.
about.
Yeah, the 4 kids I'm talking about. They're not kids anymore. What am I saying? The 4 young men that I'm talking about. The one was from Texas. The other one was from Riverside, California. The other one was from Monterey, California, and Sacramento. I think either Sacramento or Oakland. I can't
Yeah.
remember. But
So they're basically token kids, right? The token kid that
right.
they make a big deal out of, like, oh, we did this and we did that and we're so wonderful, you're the poster child. But it's not the pattern of practice in reality.
That's crazy. I'm just like, now that now that I'm thinking about it, why is it only the young boys that came to me, and then the young girls are introduced to prostitution by the social workers? By the way, we all know the one in Texas, the 16-year-old, that the social worker told her that she wants her to be a prostitute, and they will share the profit. That was in Texas, and she recorded her. Now,
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that happens, but they're not doing that to boys. They're doing that to girls. So girls are in high demand. That's why oftentimes I hear
Yeah.
mothers say, Miss G, if I was a bad mom, why did they return my boy and kept my daughter? Why did they keep my daughter? Why am I a good mother to the boy, but I'm a bad mom to the daughter? And all of that because the mother called as a domestic violence report to protect her children. So the court said, oh, now we'll just give you that boy, but we're going to keep the daughter because you're not good enough for the daughter. So to me, I feel like they're doing that to girls, some girls, or most girls rather, to traffic them.
You would think every time they do that, that's like letting the cat out of the bag, right?
Yeah,
But it happens all the time where a parent will have, like, there's one case that I know of where the grandmother has one of the siblings and the other sibling is in the foster system. And it's like, well, obviously she's a good, guardian because she has custody of the sibling. And why are we breaking the siblings up? And you would think this happens so often. You would think that that's like letting the cat out of the bag, but people are just so
right.
clueless that things happen right in front of our eyes and nobody does anything about it.
I agree with you. And somebody wrote here, if you guys can read this, I mean, they're talking about we have all looked through the Epstein flight logs, right? And I know they're being sarcastic, and I know what Porter is trying to say. Epstein girls were all from the foster homes. And that is a fact and it's the truth. And these girls were sold to the highest bidder. Um, so basically, we're talking about from royalty to public officials, and they were tossed left and right, and they were so tiny and so young. So all these girls had no parents. Well, they did, but they stripped them away from their parents and put them in foster home. And I think that's why Epstein supposedly killed himself, which we don't. I don't think so. I don't personally. I don't feel like he killed himself. I feel like he was literally murdered on purpose because he would give up so many names. And where is the book that he had? Who has that?
I'll tell you a little bit of history of the Epstein
Yeah.
situation and how he got girls from the foster system.
Uh huh.
What was happening is they would take children from the foster system and say that they ran away, like even infants, but infants cannot run away because they can't even walk, right? But they would be listed as runaways. And then what would happen is the system, like CPS or what have you, would not notify the police if a child ran away.
Right.
And in some cases, even if they did notify the police, certain states say that they only have to look for a missing foster child for 6 months. And that's even if they do any sort of sincere looking.
Right. Right.
So this is how the foster system gets used for sex trafficking because it's a confidential process. And when kids, quote unquote, run away, even though we know they're not running away, they don't get reported to the police. And you can see how this happened because in response to it, I think it was in 2014, an act was created, which was stupid, but it is what it is, because any CPS worker knowing of a child running away should report the crime to the police. Anyways, like that should be, nobody should have to be reminded to do their job.
Mhm.
But this act was something along the lines of safe, something about, it was like Safe Parenting and Stopping Sex Trafficking Act. Something, I know I'm mixing up the words, but it has sex trafficking in there, and it's about safe parenting, and it was in from 2014, and it made it an act that any child that runs away from CPS has to be reported to the police, right? And once they made that act in 2014, if you go to the Missing and Exploited Children's website, which is also probably not even truthful data, there was something like a 300% increase of reports of children that were missing from the foster care system in response to this new act. So
Wow.
it's a massive, massive system to sex traffic children without any oversight because the child welfare system is not reporting to police when children go missing. Or
Mhm.
even if they do, the police are in cahoots and kind of don't go looking for the kids, Or like I said, in some states, they only have to look for 6 months anyways.
Yeah, but there's also stories that I hear where they actually, for example, if they see a mother with two beautiful kids, I'm not joking, this is true story, and say that some celebrity wants them. So what happened is, and we all know there's some celebrities who are satanic, okay? And what happened is they hire this, I guess, sex traffic, whatever, guy, person, and they like they would medicate the girl, the woman,
Yeah.
and they will take her, force her to do, they will sex traffic her. And then when the family finds out, she's like nothing but bones and a little bit of skin over her. And then they finish her at the end. You know what I mean? Like literally give her like overdose something. They inject her with something, and then they stamp her with a stamp of traffic stamp. It's like a little bird. It's like a little
Wow.
bird with like, whatever. And they tattoo her either on the arm or on the leg. And that means she's marked. Now, CPS comes after the children, and they take the children to this celebrity that can't have children, for example. And it's like a boy and a girl, for example. And guess what? They're flashing them, and CPS is literally doesn't want to give the children to the grandmother, grandfather, siblings, nothing, absolutely nothing, nothing, nothing. And made up this whole story just to take these kids. So basically, what I'm hearing and what I have been investigating with other people is that they literally will deliberately take children, mark them as target, but they will have to destroy the mother first. The mother
Yeah.
has to be destroyed first.
That happened. There was a case of that, which nobody's been held accountable. A case of that. I'm sorry, my dog is chewing. My dog is chewing amethyst.
What is that?
He found an amethyst and he was chewing it. So
Oh my God.
yeah. So okay, so in our town, and nobody's been held accountable for this, but again, on our show, we have witnessed testimony from where, an attorney that was working for CPS had a lesbian relationship with a foster mother.
Why? I know
And
who you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, and she was picking children for their lesbian relationship, and kidnapping them from families, and they were kind of bragging to people, even by
Right.
email, that they were cherry picking kids for their relationship. Come to find out that foster mother was a pedophile, but the foster mother got away with everything because she blackmailed the attorney for CPS, saying, if you expose me, I'm going to expose you. So all of her charges got dropped. She was told she was not allowed to be a foster parent anymore, but a certain attorney that I know continued to do adoptions into that family because now that's not fostering.
Right.
So, I mean, the things they do is so disgusting. All the ways they traffic children without anybody knowing because it's such a confidential process. Like, who knows where foster children really go? Nobody. Like, nobody in the public is
They're
told.
being trafficked.
Yeah.
I traveled about 30 different places, 30 to 40 in that 3-year period.
Now somebody's saying they were tagged at the hospital.
They were what?
They were tagged at the hospital. That's what one of the comments say. Possible. A lot of the children's hospitals have CPS in the basement offices that are there. So
People need to listen more, talk more, and listen more. Quit assuming, because most of the time what happens is like me. Okay, CPS only intervened because they absolutely had no choice but to intervene, right? So, but before that, they had been out several times, and I told them about the abuse. They chose not to believe the child, chose to believe the adult, so therefore I stayed in the home. Now, had nothing been going on, they probably would have taken me out the home.
right.
And because again, they had to take me out because she neglected me. She dumped me, pretty
Yeah.
much, right?
Yeah.
So
So
I'm
I
sorry
got a
that
call.
happened.
Sorry, guys. I got a call from I told you the one one of the social workers that resigned, and she told me there's another social worker that resigned in Texas and that contacted her, and she said that to tell you that you're lucky you were not trafficked because they have been for years and years and years taking children from CPS custody. Literally, they were putting children in homes, and the foster, I mean, as foster in the foster homes, and what they did, that foster home has relationship with the trafficking agency. They have trafficking agencies like in different counties, in different countries, like different areas. And what they do, like Cambodia, she said Cambodia is a big place to be trafficked, and she said they usually come from the heart of United States because
Miss,
oftentimes they want girls who are blonde, blue eyes. In the Middle East, that's like a big thing. You're like anywhere, if you're blonde and blue eyes, you're like a goddess, right? Um, and that's usually what they're looking for. So, and they're trafficked everywhere in the world, actually,
right,
not just
Miss,
Cambodia. Go ahead.
right, Miss G knows my ex-husband was an attorney, is an attorney, and was an attorney for Child Protective Services. And my kids disclosed abuse, and the system covered up the abuse and sent them to live with their father.
Yeah.
And I always wondered why, because my ex, he's not a stellar attorney. In fact, he's kind of a pathetic attorney. I always wondered why everyone was falling on the sword to cover him up. And what ended up happening is another attorney for the same county, CPS, he was hired with it being public knowledge he was a sex offender. And he did what a sex offender would do if they were hired for CPS. And he raped multiple women, and he sex trafficked a child that was in DSS custody. So he pled guilty. He got put in jail for only 4 months, but is deemed a level 3 violent sex offender. And so I found multiple other cases of attorneys for the same Niagara County CPS that were sex trafficking children, most who are not held accountable. So, so this is why I know much of the research and the laws that were created in response to this issue and how it happens and why I've paid attention.
This is sick. This is so sick. This is so sick. I mean, there's nothing lucky, first of all, for Sarah, but like she said, my friend said, she said, I hate to say it that way, but she's lucky she wasn't trafficked. She said it's worse for trafficking children, girls, because they inject them with drugs every day, multiple times a day to sedate them.
That's what happened
And
to my daughter.
yeah, they're gang
In her
rapes
father's
and all
custody,
that.
they
Yeah,
did that.
yeah. See what I mean? That's insane. And they're always siding with the abuser. To me, personally, if you side with the abuser, that means you're evil. You can't. You want to hurt these kids intentionally, inflict pain on them. And to me, when judges humiliate mothers in court, in CPS court, to me that speaks volume about these people wearing a black robe, because they're supposed to be neutral. They're not supposed to be biased, but they're all biased. There's absolutely no judge in that damn courthouse in any state or any county who is not biased. Show me one judge who's not biased. One, and I'll give you $1. Give
But
me
Miss
one.
G, I don't even think it's bias. I don't. I think they're doing this for money on purpose. And it looks like bias, but I think it's really all just what it comes down to is the money they make from sex trafficking kids.
I understand that, but they're attacking mothers.
Well, yeah, but that's how they're sex trafficking kids, by attacking the mothers who care to protect their kids from it.
Okay, so when a mother calls the police to protect them, why are the police notifying CPS? Well,
because they're involved.
I understand that, but my friend told me, she said that the police is notify CPS because it says when you call CPS hotline, it says if this is an emergency, call 911. Get it? So the hotline says call 911, so they call 911, and then they know the protocol of a police officer is to notify them. That's how it works. That's why they say for an emergency, call 911. But they're being trafficked. This one is being abused, literally abused, medicated. I don't think there was anything wrong with her other than she was trying to figure out what was going on in life. Because Sarah, that is, was reacting is because of the abuse. She literally stripped away from all she knows. She doesn't know anything else. She's put in a place where she was being abused. And then she was told that it was not her uncle, it's her dad that abused her. But how can she say it's her uncle? And then they gaslight her. This is part of gaslighting, though. Make you question your reality. That is narcissistic behavior. When they make you question your own sanity, your own reality, and they twist it, making you think it's somebody else and not the actual perpetrator that they put you in. That is literally demonic techniques and narcissistic techniques. They literally, any narcissist you're with, they will make you question your reality, your truth, make you think it's you and not them. And that's why they cover up for the abuser, is because they actually do want women hurt. They do want young ladies hurt. That's what I believe, because there is absolutely no way, in the name of God, like, there is absolutely no way these people are normal. There's absolutely nothing normal about it. These girls resigned because they were told to do some really bad things. Really bad things. Now another one resigned in Texas.
Well,
What does that tell you? The
You
one
know
that
what?
resigned in Texas.
you know what it tells me, Miss G? There are good people in the world that won't do what the evil things that they were asked to do. And thank God for those people who say no.
Honestly, I CPS needs to be terminated completely.
I agree. I agree.
mean, if they're so adamant about terminating women's rights, let's terminate them. Because to me, like I said earlier on the show with me and you, Stacy, is that we're paying their salary. We're literally paying their salary. For God's sakes, we are there. We need to fire them. See, that's the thing, is we need to replace them and we need to fire them. But they don't want us to have power. So how are they going to strip our power? By attacking our family. They strip us by attacking our family. No, this is true.
So Michelle Porter is saying, has anyone talked to this woman's mom? But my response to that a little bit too is, how many people have you talked to, Miss G?
What do you mean? How many? I talked to a lot.
How many people have you talked to that describe a similar situation as our guest tonight?
A lot, and it ended up being that the mother's brother that's been molesting the child.
Just a lot. You've talked to a lot of people, and it's always the same story about the system, right?
Yeah.
And then we have our own government admitting this is a problem in the system too, with the reports from the U.S. Department of State on human trafficking that are released every year. The one from June of 2023 literally states, for the past 5 years, things haven't changed, and the foster care system is still the main way that children are sex trafficked in the United States. So it's not that, every person's testimony is hearsay when they come on the show. But when you hear the same story over and over and over again, we know that we are dealing with a very fractured system that I agree should be abolished. There's no reason why the police couldn't do what CPS is doing, because CPS's performance is so subpar. You might as well have the police do it.
You're right. And there's something else I want to mention, because Porter just reminded me. There's a case where the father is not the offending parent, but the mother is, boyfriend, and the mother sucks. So they don't want to give the child to the father. So what they did, they put the child with two hyenas who are married to each other, two females. And I swear to God, I looked at one of the pictures of the females, and she looked so disgustingly scary. We're talking about piercing everywhere, tattoos everywhere, and big. I'm not saying big people are scary, but she was like, looked like a god. She looked like a whale, and she was ugly. The whales are beautiful. She was ugly, and her eyes were so dark. You can't see the circle. That's how dark. I swear, I'm not joking, you guys. When I saw the picture, I almost gagged. Her eyes were so dark, and she was doing this to the father in the picture, like 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 she was doing some kind of facial thing, but where her lip is up, and I don't know how she did that. Her eyes is wide open, because usually if I do this, my eyes have to, you know, close a little bit, right? Now her eyes was way open. She was intimidating the dad of the child. She's telling his child, do not call him dad, call him by his real name. The child is very close to her father. She wants to be with her dad. Her dad didn't do anything. They took the child from the biological mother. And, you know, and then he tells me something even crazier, other than the bruising on the child's leg and thigh, bite marks were, you know, near her private area. You can see the teeth. The child is 3 years old, and she knows things about her private area, telling her dad that a 3-year-old should never say. And that stupid lady, the foster or guy, whatever the hell he wants to, he, whatever. So his child is being molested, and CPS refused to give him the child. Then I find out from him that both of these females go to church. How sad that is.
Wow.
And to me, they hide behind church, they hide behind God, they hide behind Christ. But what they don't understand is that God is so merciful and so good, has so much grace, compassion for them.
Really?
Yeah, they will face him. Believe me, guys, they will face him one day, and it's going to be so ugly for them. I feel sorry for them. I really do. Because they're not going to even be questioned. They're going to be thrown in the pit of hell, like the fire, immediately. There is no judgment for them. That is judgment for them. That's it. That's it. That's all I can say. But they're putting children, Christian children from Christian good family. That father is a good Christian. He served our country. And he loves God, and he loves her to death. And he cries out for his own daughter. And I can only imagine a grown man crying to me. That's sincere, dude. That's like, you can't get more real than this. Then the sad part is that these women, they put the children like of a Christian family or a Christian parent into a home that Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed for. How can I explain it better than that? I mean, how can I say it nicely? That's not right. I've seen pastor kids being stripped away from him and his wife because an atheist said they're forcing their kids to be going to Sunday school. That is ridiculous. I've never, like, just imagine they put these children in a gay home. Same thing. That was in Ohio. Same thing that this happening to this young man that served our country. So what I'm saying is this. They're doing this intentionally. Like, they will get like a Muslim kid. They will put them in a Christian home, gay home. Okay? Now, or they get this kid and put them in. So basically what they do is they inflict pain on the family even more, knowing that their children is being taught something completely different than what they want to teach their own children. So you have no power over your kids. What they did to Sarah, medicate her, tie her up to the point where she couldn't even, like, she had to go back to normal, like trying to go back to normal. Just her hands being tied up for so many hours.
They they wouldn't even allow me to get up to the bathroom until like maybe for 4 hours.
Yeah, that's horrible. And they wonder why she's reacting. Well, hello, she was being a teenager before. Now you made it worse, and now she's not just a
Today,
teenager. Yeah,
today, I am a high person in society. Um, I am one of those miracle stories where you have a shit childhood like I did, and have a shit, first part of your adulthood. Then finally, you get straight, and that's where I am. I'm straight. I used to be way down here, waiting for me to take that extra pill to take my life. And today, that's not where I'm at all.
yeah, I know. That's good to know, though, Sarah. But again, Porter, did you see what Porter wrote, Stacy? He said they tried to gaslight me on my birthday, and that's what on birthing. Sorry, on my birthday. Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. You become a target in the hospital. I'm not joking.
Yeah,
Especially if,
that's
yeah,
what she said. She said she was marked when she was in the hospital.
yeah, she was marked. But you know what? The county hospitals do that, and that's what my girls said. And I'm not joking. They told me they target the county hospitals. They target people who are on food stamps and cash aid and Medi-Cal and all this. They know. But if you have private insurance and you go to a big hospital, like for example, if you're in California, Cedar Sinai is one of the biggest hospitals in California. They don't accept Medi-Cal. So
What's up, Mystic?
so if you have to have PPO, that would be better for you. But I've never seen Cedars. I don't know. I've never heard any stories from Cedars, but it's only county hospitals. What do you think, Stacy? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I know that locally, like our children's hospital, they have CPS within the hospital. They have offices in the hospitals when children are born.
Oh my God. Do you guys see? Just okay. So Sunday, I went out with my friend and her daughters and her husband. We went to get ice cream, and there was a lady with a special need kid baby in the stroller. And that lady is a young lady. She's Caucasian. And I was playing with the kid, and she said, and the kid was laughing and waving at me, and he was so sweet and loving. And she said, that never happened before. He never, ever smiles at anybody. He never waves at anybody. And I said,
Aw.
oh my God. I said, that's amazing. I said, I feel so honored, right? And she said, you should, because I've been trying to get him to wave or smile. That kid wanted to go with me. So my friend said,
Aw.
they sense sincerity. They do. That woman must have not been sincere. Anyway, I said, oh my God. I said, that's great. I said, how, do you have any other kids? She said, oh, I'm a foster parent. That's what she said. She's fostering. As soon as she said that, my friend just grabbed me from my shoulder.
Hmm.
She said, so do you want Rocky Road or are you just still on your diet? And she changed the subject completely. Her husband was like, please shut her up. And he started talking nonsense. I don't know what he was saying. And then they have daughters. Their daughters were looking at us like, you guys are old. You guys are crazy, right? And they walked away. Like they went, like waiting. And on the other side until our turn comes, right? But then I looked at her. I still wanted to say something, right? So they were ordering, and then I sneaked out behind her. And I said, how long have you been fostering? She said, I only foster special needs children. And I said, how long have you been fostering? And the whole time I'm holding my hand like this, right? And she said, well, I was approached by a social worker who suggested that I should foster, and they're going to give me a lot of money, and I don't have to work. So she's fostering special needs children. She lives in a very expensive area of Los Angeles that only like literally celebrities live in. And she doesn't have to work. They're helping her with food. They're helping her with clothing, not just $20 a month. No, this is a. She said she makes, and she was trying to convince me to become a foster parent. She said, "Honey, you should do it." She didn't know what I do. First of all, she said, "Honey, you should do it because I'm making like 7,000 a month. I have to do anything. I just hire a maid." So she was
Miss,
out with the little kid that day because they had Halloween. All the corporate companies around in that rich area, they did Halloween night from uh, from 4 to 8, something like that. So the kids all dressed up, and they have people giving them money and all that. I mean, sorry, giving them candy and all that. So that's why we were there that night. But what I'm trying to tell you is that if she said she makes that much in LA, $7,000 a month, I don't even make that. I mean, to me, and then if I was making $7,000 a month, I can hire a maid to take care of them. I mean, think about it. So basically, it is a business, and she's trying to convince me to become one.
and then they go to church and say how what wonderful people they are because they take kids in.
There you go.
Special
But it's
needs
not
kids.
true. It's not true. They're not wonderful people. Go ahead, Stacey.
You know what else worries me about that story is the indiscriminate friendliness of the child, that the child wanted to go with you.
Yep, the child wanted to go with me. As God is my witness, and I put this on the Holy Bible. The child wanted to go with me. The child did not want to stay with this woman. And that's why she said that he never smiled before. And as God is my witness, you guys, I love kids. I've always loved kids. Since I was a little girl, I would give kids my toys just to see them happy. Kids don't deserve this. They don't deserve this crap. That child was a special need, but he was so beautiful. The way he looked at me, his eyes were so innocent that you just wanna protect him. You want to protect him. And it's sad. That's sad that they're trying to convince people to be foster family. I don't like that.
It's sick.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say, honestly. To be honest with you, kind of like they're not giving people a chance to become parents, to be parents, to be able to make mistakes and say, you know what? Yeah, I remember doing that, but I'll never do that again. Kind of like, like leaving a kid unattended and turn around, for example, and your kid is touching the stove or whatever. It's
you don't
kinda
even
like,
have to make mistakes, Miss G. If you
Yeah.
don't make mistakes, if you're tight and you're doing everything right, they manufacture things to still take your kids from you.
Exactly. But they're targeting the ones who can't afford an attorney, Stacy. They're targeting women who can't afford an attorney.
People who can't afford to fight and cause a problem.
Where is Elon? Porter said. Elon Musk? Where is Bill Gates? I think
I
Bill Gates
honestly
has more
think,
money than Elon Musk.
you know what, Miss G? I think
Uh-huh.
we need to stop asking where anyone is. It has to come from us too. We all
Yeah.
need to start doing this, because if we all work together and we all unite, we're stronger than Elon Musk or anybody,
Oh, I
because
know.
we're larger if we all stick together and start doing something. It's the complacency that's killing us.
True. I agree with you 100%. But Porter also said they missed my visitation last week. They start doing that gradually, Porter. They start doing that gradually, and then their aim is to terminate reunification services. So what happens is they do that gradually until to get you to react, because you're a mother, of course. You want to see your children, or you're a parent. Period. You want to see your child or children. So they do that. They get you to react, and then the foster parent is going to complain. He or she is gonna say, "Oh yeah, she's being attacked by you." Then the social worker is gonna tell the judge, "This is not. I can't make this up." And the social worker is gonna report it to the judge.
love.
Yeah, am I right?
Yes, Miss G. They love to say, she threatened me.
Yeah.
And you don't have to threaten anybody, but they'll make that false allegation, and it works all the time.
Yep. And don't think you can be buddy buddy with the foster parent or the social workers. I have people who actually became close with the social workers. They think they're on her side, but they weren't. And now she lost her parental rights.
Yeah, those
You get
social
it?
workers, they come to your house and they act nice for a reason. They want you to put your guard down, and they want you to be pleasant to them because they're stepping into unsafe territory, because what they're doing is bad, and they don't want anyone to react to their evil of snatching your kids. So they'll be nice to your face, and then they do everything so fast you don't even know what hit you, and your kids are gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you. I mean, they would rather give the children to strangers than spend that Title IV funding on the actual parents like they should. They're supposed
Right.
to spend it on the parents. That's the whole idea of Title IV.
But the traffickers are who made that Title IV to incentivize kidnapping kids from families.
Right. So there's something that happened in a white building in the United States where they found drugs. And I was listening to that and I'm like, interesting. Interesting. But I don't want to say where, but most of you might know what I'm talking about. But again, interesting. Need I say more? Need I say more? I mean,
Well, it goes to prove my point that we can't rely on the government to save us.
exactly.
We also
So
need
we
to
need,
stand strong.
there you go. So we tomorrow, God willing, wait, what's tomorrow? Wednesday. No, sorry, Thursday. Take that back.
Tuesday.
Thursday. Yeah, Thursday is real talk. Wait, what? Tomorrow's Thursday. Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Tomorrow's Tuesday, no?
Oh, for the love of God. I don't know anything anymore.
Yeah, I think
Oh my
tomorrow's Tuesday.
goodness.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what? I do this all the time.
I was
I
mixed
want
up
to
earlier
skip
today.
I want to skip Monday. I just want to go to Wednesday. Oh my God.
I
This
was
is-
mixed up earlier too, so I can't say anything.
I'm so sorry. No, I think it's just I'm old. I'm getting old. Tomorrow, Tuesday, is Fight CPS with Miss G. Stacy and I are gonna be on that show. And you guys are more than welcome. It's gonna be at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. More than welcome to come and join us. But tomorrow we're going to talk about, what did we say we're gonna talk, or what are we gonna talk about? The
Oh, under color of law, the trick of it.
color of law. And I read it. I read it, and Stacy said she really wants to talk about that, and I think it's a great idea.
You're right,
It's
Miss G.
under the color of law. Tomorrow's
Mhm.
show, okay? And we're gonna share some. Well, Stacy will do most of the talking, and I will just. I might jump in here and there,
Miss G, I listen to you and I learn from you. So don't underestimate yourself in your role here. And your intuition is almost always right. Like when you're talking about this young lady and her father, you're probably the one that's right, Miss G. I'm just saying I don't know either way for sure. But when it comes down to it, you always know, and you always end up being right.
It's a gut thing, man. I don't know what it is. It's a gut thing. It's in my gut. And I'm not saying I'm always right. You tell me that, but in my gut, I just trust my gut. I used to doubt my gut. Now I
You have
just
a
trust
good
my
you have
gut.
a good intuition.
Thank you, man. Thank you, baby girl. I really appreciate that. Yes, we know tomorrow's Tuesday. You're a little late on that, Miss G. Her first name starts with a G also. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm getting old. I'm older than all of you guys. I swear, this is so sad. Yes,
Time
there's
goes by
grandmothers
quickly.
who are younger than me, Stacy. Okay?
Time
So
time
sad.
flies, Miss G. Time flies.
I know. Well, I love you too. Oh my God, this is so sad. So tomorrow is going to be a good show. So again, we're going to discuss the color of law. Sounds weird, huh? The color of law. You would So tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Is there anything you want to say before we close the show, Stacy?
No, Miss G, just you're a good woman, and I listen to you and I learn from you, and I'm always thrilled to be on the show with you and learn from you, and I thank you for that. And people should listen to you. You're a smart gal, and your heart's in the right place.
Thank you, Stacy. You're so sweet. Honest to God, you are. You really are a genuine person. And guys, seriously, we're not trying to make this a love show, but Stacy is very smart. She's a physician assistant. Um, she devoted herself to help others, even in her work in the ER where she works. And I have never seen anyone like her. She gives time to parents. She's not a selfish person. She's not a selfish person at all. She will do anything possible to help others. And I'm only blessed because I actually did pray to God and I asked him to help me find genuine people in my circle, because it was very hard for me to, I just don't relate to evil. I don't relate to darkness at all. And God just pushed a lot of people away from my circle, and Stacy is the only one that remained. And for that, I thank God for her. And and I pray for us, because I know that when we're doing the right thing, the enemy attacks. And I pray to God that me and her know Christ enough to not let it come between us in any which way possible, because that's what's important, is to be equally yoked, one on one with God. That's in all relationships. It doesn't matter what type of relationship it is. And I am very thankful, Stacy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss G. Thanks for all your listeners, and keep watching Miss G because she knows what she's talking about. I rely on her. I've been in this situation for 10 years, and Miss G is right, and she is not afraid to speak the truth.
I'm not.
So,
I'm not. But look. Now we have Miss G jealous. Mrs. G's jealous here. She goes, I better be in that circle with you guys. Thank God. You're in that circle. Damn it. You're always in that circle. You're our client, Yeah, she's our client. I love you. Um, yeah, she's in that circle. She's kind of like you. Exactly. It's so weird. Her and her husband are good people, very good people. Um, but she's a grandmother. She's younger than me. Isn't that sad? Yeah, I'm the oldest one. So anyway, damn it. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, God willing, Stacy and everyone. Again, the color of law we're going to discuss tomorrow. I'm so excited. I don't know why. I just want to discuss it so badly. I'm excited about it because I know a lot of people have questions about that. Okay, let's do it.
all right, Miss G, see you then.
See you tomorrow. Love you. Bye.